Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. This is Hebrew for 666. With the basic eyesight of humanity and with a basic discernment, one can look at this 666 in the Monster Drink logo, and they can very easily discern that there is absolutely a reference to the Satanism as described in biblical scripture. However, there are people in this world, those that do not believe in a God, in a creator, and to hold on to that belief, they must deny anything that is truth, regardless of where that truth resides. They have to hold on to their denial in order to hold on to their worldview, because their worldview is what keeps them in their sin, and they do not want to be removed from their sin.
I think the farthest that I'm going to go with you on this, though, is that, yes, in a Christian context, this is all what you say. There are some symbolism that tie being satanic.
Okay,
but someone who's not Christian or who's not going to mean that. It's just going to mean that it's a Monster energy drink.
Okay, so wait a minute. You already concluded what I was trying to have you conclude. So your conclusion is, yes, in a Christian context, I can see how you said.
Right, how it leads you to either being satanic, antichrist, like that.
So I don't understand, like, where's the disconnect? Like, why are we not agreeing fully that, yes, this is like satanic art? Do you think it was a coincidence? Do you think that whoever designed all of these things, it just happened to fall in line, that there were these different lines of coincidences that all were biblical? And, like, seriously, was it a coincidence?
That's where the disconnect is I don't know what was making the symbolism from the way I take it just on its face value.
Well, it's satanic, right? Satanic symbolism. Satanic, or there's an antichrist theme going on, right? There's a biblical Christian theme going on here, right? Like, can we agree or no? Because if you say no, then you're going to have to explain to me the deal with the cross. What's the deal with everything else I said? Like, I'm seriously, look, you have these different lines of evidence coming into, like, one idea. So you're saying, like, oh, I don't know the intent of who designed this cup, this drink, this logo. Well, yeah, I mean, but look, is it going to take a rocket scientist for you to conclude that, yeah, it was probably satanic inspired, or at least biblically inspired? Do you think that that's reasonable to conclude that?
I don't.
No, you don't. Why? That's my question. Why?
Because it has kind of like an apparent intent of the company logo, and it fits the lines of being a Monster energy drink, talking about the beast, and it's a big M that look like claw marks. There's this prima facie layer to it.
Wait,
that you're overriding.
Looks like claw marks is actually 3 6s.
I saw the language that you translated it into.
Okay, so why? So okay, you know what? I'm just seriously wondering. Xbox is trying to not conclude that this is, like, biblically inspired. Like, how do you not do that? Just because you're saying I don't know his intent, I wasn't in the head of the designer? Like, seriously, dude? Like, when your mom gives you a kiss on your forehead and changes your diapers all your life, does it take a rocket scientist to say, oh, I think she loves me? Or are you just going to conclude that she's working for deep space aliens whose mission in their life was to make you think you get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, duh, you don't know their intentions, but duh. Like, it's not unreasonable. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Here's why I would have to know their intentions. If there is some hidden meaning in this, is why there is an apparent on face value in thing I can take away from looking at it. I need to know about into the person that did it.
That's where we're talking past each other. Because I'm not saying that, like, these people, look, like, it would be pretty extreme, these people to have this much biblical references on their cup and in their company logo, and it's been a complete coincidence where someone's original meaning wasn't to have it be biblically rooted.
So are Bob put on the side there?
Xbox. Are you trying to say that that you don't think the person who designed this had any meaning at all to have it be biblically related?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't researched him or the design company.
Of course you don't know. Xbox, of course you don't know because you're not in his head asking you.
No, he could have written about it. There could be maybe a page on where the symbol is. I searched it.
Xbox, I don't know either. Doing any research, I can clearly say this is clearly biblically inspired.
I think that's reasonable.
You think that's reasonable?
I don't. I don't think it's reasonable to conclude that.
Because here's the thing, anyone who's done any type of graphic, especially graphic design logos or t-shirts, or even people that do tattoos, you find that when you run out of space, and when you have to save space, because look, like if you look at the Monster Energy can, there's tons of stuff on it.
They couldn't have just made they couldn't have fit 4 lines on it.
But 4 lines wouldn't make an M for monster.
Kind of go, okay, so
it
why
goes with the design, man. It's a design, right? And that's probably done through trial and error. I'm just saying, they probably didn't choose that logo right off the bat that way. I can guarantee you that there's 1,000 prototypes and different rough drafts that they were trying to come up with.
Joseph, I get
well, I don't
what you're
think
saying.
you do, because you just seem to not like the fact that people are not agreeing with you.
Okay, if I'm right or wrong?
No, you don't need to. I just disagree that it's
what you just said was that there's 3 claw marks because it's an M and they had thousands of prototypes. Is that not what you just said?
No, I said they probably. I'm speculating.
Did I accurately understood what you just said or no? I just repeated.
I'm not speaking to you as if you didn't understand me. I'm trying to tell you.
Sure.
If you wish to have a conversation about this, right? You can't just solve. We're not going to accept it.
Bro, you made your point. I'm addressing your point. You're trying to say, no, I want to keep talking. So if you want to keep talking, I'll be quiet. I'll wait for you to finish, then I'll address it. Go ahead.
Not at all. I never said I wanted to keep talking.
If people disagree with you.
Well, that's what it seems. That's not an indication of me wanting to keep talking. That's what it seems. You're trying to sat here for like 5 minutes to get Xbox to 1 point. To agree with you. That's it. That's what you were doing. And if he didn't agree with you, you weren't willing to have the conversation. That's nonsensical.
Well, I'm not even going to address what you just said. Let's address the issue here. 3 M's, right? Let me ask you. So these 3, you got, I mean, not the 3 M's, the M, made up of 3 individual parts. The Hebrew numerology, allegedly, I'm not a Hebrew scholar, represents 666. What do you say about that?
Okay, that's it.
You don't agree that that can be construed to be 666?
By a Christian, it can't be.
I'll put on the side there that's actually in Hebrew. That's number 6. The number 6. It's actually not 666.
Because here's I put in the side chat. That's 666 in Hebrew right there. Because Bob, I just put in the side chat. That's what 666 looks like in Hebrew.
Those numbers?
What you have there on the Monster Energy drink are 3 individual characters. If you're going to make the charge, right? So the Monster Energy drink actually wouldn't make up 600 in Hebrew. It would be, if you want to make the charge, it would be 3 individual, almost single letter or the single kicks.
That
makes 666 because that makes 666. What I put
wait a second.
Each green stroke in Hebrew is the number 6. So 3 strokes would be 6, 6, 6.
Look at the side chat. You see where I typed those little characters? That's 666 in Hebrew. That Monster Energy drink is not. Go ahead if you can prove the case.
What you wrote in the side chat there, I am fully willing to grant is 666 in Hebrew. Oh, dude. I have 3 individual symbols that are 6, each one being a 6. What does that make when you put them next to each other?
3 individual, it makes 6 plus 6 plus 6. So add that up to
Plus, is there a plus sign in there, Joseph?
That's how, when you write out characters, there are certain implications. So if you want to say that it's 666, are you saying it's 666?
So according to this atheist, this number is 2 plus 2 plus 2. It is not 222.
Are you saying that it's 3 individual 6s? If it's 3 individual 6s, that's not the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is the number 666. There's 3 individual 6s. By lying 3 6s together, doesn't necessarily make them 666, because as you can see, the character for 666 is vastly different than the character for individual. When you put them together, they don't look like that. They look like what we put in the side chat. You're rambling. I'm making sense. And you don't like it.
I'm sure you're saying. Okay, what you're saying is that 3 individual 6s next to each other, it equals 18, right?
There you go.
Obviously, I'm not stupid then, right?
Well,
Your point about right now that I got your point or no?
Dude, you don't be so standoffish and hostile. I'm not. Trying to.
Did I get your point?
Oh, did you?
I just repeated back for you, and you said.
So then there's the answer to your question. Fine.
So I got your point. Just to make sure we're on the same page and I'm not misunderstanding, I get your point. Now let me address your point.
Mm-hmm.
In Hebrew or whatever, if the number 666, if that number itself is written in the way that you put on side there, and that equals the number 666, that's fine. I have no problem with that. All I'm saying is that this monster company, they may have chosen not to use the Hebrew symbol for 666. They did individual 6 at a time. A, because it fits with the biblical theme putting forward. B, because it makes the M monster. It's a very intelligent design.
But
Is the mark of the beast in the Bible 666 or is it 666?
right.
I'm not done yet. So what you're saying is, if you have a 6, 6, and a 6 next to each other, that it would equal 18, and therefore that refutes what I'm saying. Let me address that. There's no plus sign. So it's just 666, 666 written next to each other.
Yes. There's no value there. There's no actual numeric value. There's just, if you're going to say that those characters are individual 6s, that's all they are. It's not a representation of the mark of the beast. Because the mark of the beast in general is not 3 individual 6s. It is the number 666.
Darwin's jump in.
Different character than the 3 individual that you're pointing out on the monster drink. So you're talking about 2 different animals here. Dude, interrupt me if you want. I'm not fucking
What you're saying is that in the Bible, the mark of the beast is the number 666.
Yes.
And you're saying on this can, since it's not the Hebrew symbol for 666, and it's just 6, that now it's we can totally disregard that it has anything to do with the Bible.
Yes, and do you want to know why? Because if the charge is that it's in Hebrew characters, right? The person doesn't read very well because that's not 666. Attention, they failed. Next.
Well, before we go next, would you admit that the Hebrew for 666 does not look like an M? 3 individual 6s in Hebrew number symbol for 6 would make an M, which would indicate that they intentionally were full aware that they are using individual 6s and not the number 666 into the theme of their company, Monster M.
How do you know what they were thinking through?
Inferring their intention, demonstrate their intention. I don't have any reason to believe you at all.
Xbox, please don't interrupt.
Okay, I'll mute out.
saying that for 20 minutes myself.
You'll see my point because Xbox jumped in with his commentary and then you piggybacked off of it. I'm not trying to say that this is for sure what was in their head. I'm presenting a case to you that would it be reasonable for you to include, due to the company starting with an M, where intelligent in their design of the logo, and that for them it would still hold value, making a 666, even if it wasn't necessarily the Hebrew number for 666.
Then it has no value. It doesn't have the same value at that point. That's what I'm trying to point out to you. You can't rearrange characters to fit. Like here again, you're inferring your intention. So let's do that. Let's assume they were. If these people were educated in Hebrew, they would know that they would have to sneak in the actual 666 somewhere. They couldn't just have it represent what it should represent. What's going on here is that Christians are putting things together in minor reading that they've done. So that woman who pointed this out, she probably came across some Hebrew text and she found that interesting. Like, oh my gosh, this is like an individual 6. Anybody with a brain knows that when you line up the numbers next to each other in succession, that doesn't necessarily mean, if I put ones in a row, it doesn't make it 111. That makes it 3 ones in a row.
So this is not 111, it's 3 ones in a row. But I'm looking at it thinking, why didn't they use this as an M? It's an American drink. Why not use American numbers? Why the Hebrew numbers?
The same thing with the monster drink. Because you have 3 6s in a row, that doesn't make it the number 666.
So remember, kids, when your math teacher asks you what this number is, you make sure to tell them it's 3 6s in a row, not 666. Don't you dare make that mistake according to the atheist.
That makes it 3 6s in a row. And again, that the charges that they're doing, right? Like I said, they failed at portraying the actual mark of the beast.
Okay, Joseph.
660.
Turn please now.
Dude, man, what are you going to say that's any different from what you've been saying? You've been saying the same thing.
So your whole argument down to that the company is not using the Hebrew. First of all, I'm even that that's 666. I didn't do a research, accepted that that's true. So there's a number in Hebrew itself for 666. Have a symbol for that. Now, Monster didn't use that symbol, and instead what they did was cleverly and intelligently and artistically and creatively put the individual number of 6 back to back to back. And what I'm trying to say is that is not the Hebrew for 666. I'm agreeing with that for the past 15 minutes. What I'm saying is that it still represents 666 because you still have 666 next to each other. And if you want to say, well, it's not the true 666, it's really just 3 6s next to each other. What I think that's why I brought up, it's clever of them to do that because they're creating an M for their logo. Okay? So even though it's 666 in Hebrew, they could be aware of that. They figured, you know what? We're fully aware that this is not 666 in Hebrew. However, we can still make it a 666 and into the M monster. Do you think that that's a possibility? Okay, so we're not going to agree on that. Let's move on to O. You see a cross in the O.
I already said I did.
So now let's move back to the M. Now you know that there's a cross in the O. Does that lend credibility towards a biblical and intentional 6?
No.
No. So what? So why? I'm trying to. You know what? I have been arguing with you. Be a little bit more humble. I want to get inside of your mind right now. Why inside of your mind a cross next to 3 6s in a row not make a connection for you that this is both lending itself more to being a biblical thing? I want to hear your mind.
Primarily, the primary reason is because I'm a Christian. I don't these things the same way as you do. Another thing is going to sit here and speculate on the intentions of a designer for an
What if we keep it one point at a time?
Well, I'm not making arguments. You've asked me. You can't argue my thought process. You can't argue my thought process.
I'm not arguing.
Sit here and go through my thought process.
Can I address your first point, please? Can I address your first point?
What's my first point?
Your first point was I'm not a Christian. Can I just please address that?
How are you going to address it?
Here's how I'd like to address it.
Jesus Christ.
So when I asked you, how when you see a cross with 666, does that not somehow connect to biblical stuff? You said I'm not a Christian. Well, here's my answer. You wouldn't have to be a Christian.
To have to give it meaning. Yes, you would.
You would have to be a Christian. So you're telling me
to give the mark of the beast any meaning at all, you have to be a Christian. If you're not a Christian, 666 is just a number.
Can I address that?
Yes.
So I said you don't have to be a Christian, and you said you don't have to be a Christian to give it meaning. Now let me explain myself.
Okay.
I'm sure that there are people who are not Christian that would be able to say, you know what? There's a cross in the O. There's a 666, although it's not 666. There's a 666, and you know what? Yeah, that's a coincidence. I could see how this could be biblically themed. Being a complete atheist.
Show me that person.
All right, let's ask people in the room. We'll start.
You already got me and Xbox to tell you no. I'm sure you're gonna get the same answer from the rest of them.
Yeah,
we've been all sitting here arguing with you about.
Actually, no. Xbox did say. I think Xbox said he could. It could possibly be biblically inspired. I think he did say
that from a Christian worldview.
Well, let's ask him. Xbox, are you here? Xbox, you're not
here.
Xbox, you're not here. So let me ask you a question. When you see the 666, although it may not be 666, when you see the 666, and then you see an additional biblical reference of a cross, you know what? As a non-Christian, I could see how this could possibly be biblically theme inspired.
If I knew the like that Christian context, if I knew that the mark of the beast and I knew what a cross was and things like that, like I said that, and like DD said, this could be latent into it.
It could be. So you just
could be some hidden layer into it. I just don't think it's reasonable to conclude this.
Wait, you just said as a non-Christian, you could be biblically themed, like intentionally designed. Is that what you're willing to say? That the company intentionally knew?
I'm not saying anything different. Saying believe. You're digging into my beliefs now, not my speculations. You're asking me what I believe.
No. So then, Joseph, let me ask you: do you think that it's possible? Like Xbox just said, it was possible.
Of course, it's possible. It's for a lot of things to be the case, but we have a good reason to believe it.
Okay, so
man, I care about what it is.
Yeah, that's actually our contention, MK, is that it's reasonably to jump to that it is actually inspired by that, or that it actually was written out like that.
Okay, this is the case that I'm making. The case that the people who designed this intentionally, they were aware of the biblical value of what they were doing, the connotations, the biblical signs. That's my stance, that they knew what they were doing. Okay, so that's the position I'm taking. Are you guys taking the position that they didn't know? I just want to be clear here. Who am I starting with, Xbox or Joseph? One of you answer. You guys?
We talking about?
Then let me ask you. I'm gonna ask both of you. I'll start with you. Are you taking the position that whoever designed this, had no intention or knowing that they were doing something that was biblical?
I'm taking the position that I don't have any good reason to believe that.
Now, this is where we're talking past each other.
I don't think we are. We just disagree and you don't like it, man. That's it.
Back up. Let me back up. I'm not saying that for the person intentionally did this. What I'm saying is I think that it's reasonable to conclude that whoever designed this will believe intentionally did it with biblical stuff in mind. The little trying to jump inside their head and say this is what they did. My case is probably.
They probably didn't. So now.
Probably didn't. Okay, I'm just clear. I just want to be clear on your position.
Now you are the person now though that has brought this up, that has made the claim It's possible that it's the case. So if you can demonstrate that to be the case, which I don't think you've done a very good job of doing, right? But you can continue to try. I would like to hear it, but right now all I'm hearing is speculation.
Now let me reposition this a little bit.
Sure.
I actually don't care the intentions of the person. I'm asking you as a person. When I'm laying out this evidence for you, I'm asking you, can you see the biblical connections here?
Let me ask you something, MK.
After
he answers.
For Joseph.
Yeah, if you're a Christian, I could understand why you would see those implications. Yes, I can hypothetically step into your shoes.
And if you're not a Christian?
If you're not a Christian, you're not going to make the same connection. I'm sorry, that's why I've been drinking Monster Energy for years.
So what you saw there was atheists desperately trying to hold on to their deception. And that is the act of a reprobate mind. They admitted that if they were Christians, or if they stepped into a Christian worldview, they could see what we see. So it's not that they think we're not seeing what we're seeing. They're very well aware of the truth hidden in plain sight. They just refuse to believe it.